Good morning. Welcome to IYogaa Strength and Sculpt number 31. So today we have the final day of month 2. We've been doing this for 8 weeks. So 2 months of yoga almost daily, if not daily for many of you. And today is where we start to sort of consolidate the body awareness bit, what we've been doing in the last month, where we shifted the attention from an external perception to an internal perception. Now, with regular practice over the last month, you would have been doing this automatically. So I'm going to take some time today to actually talk about what we've been doing, and so that you have an understanding, because the beauty of the way our bodies work is that very often we learn, or our bodies start to do things with training long before our conscious mind knows that we learned how to do it. And this is what happens with practice. So you would have been following the instructions, and then with repetition, your body is automatically doing a lot of the internal regulation and self-adjustment in the yoga poses. So I'm just going to take some time today to point out exactly what's been going on. So what we have been focusing on in the last 4 weeks is realignment in terms of the 4 planes of the body. And when we talk about the 4 planes of the body, in order to self-adjust, you almost have to take on an inner awareness to think about all 4 planes of the body, because you can't engage all 4 planes and be focused anywhere outside the body. The awareness has to come internally. You also start to realize the importance of the central line or the central plane, because everything readjusts and rebalances the central plane of the body. That's just something we start intuitively doing. And in all honesty, in all yoga practice, that's the key feature, to maintain the integrity of the central line of the body. Even if feet are wide apart or hands are in any odd position, we're always maintaining the integrity of that central plane, and supporting our spine, ensuring the spine is elongated, and the nerve flow throughout the body is well regulated. Now, the spinal column, all the nerves from the body feeds into the spinal column, and that's how information, a lot of the reflex actions occur based on reflexes that are created within the spinal column, but a lot of all conscious information actually then transmits via the spinal column and the cranial nerves to the brain. And that's how bodies work. That's how every single cell in the body communicates, or has the ability to communicate with the brain. And this is the reason we spend so much time in yoga, actually realigning and ensuring that we maintain the integrity of the spine. And this is one of the biggest things, or the biggest differences when it comes to yoga and other forms of exercise, or yoga and gymnastics, yoga and dance, to a certain degree yoga and Pilates, is that in yoga we're always maintaining the integrity of the spine. We will never compromise the integrity of the spine for flexibility, strength. In terms of ballet, sometimes you do compromise the flexibility of the spine in order to get the graceful aesthetic, whereas in yoga we don't do that. In yoga, the grace has to come from integrity of the spine. Okay, however, to maintain the integrity of the spine, every part of the body is involved. Now, when we were talking a few weeks ago about the upper abdominal area and engaging this upper abdominal area, or the solar plexus, the area from our waist to the bottom of our ribs. And when we were doing our planks, I talked about how that area was so related to our ankles. Now, if you think about it, I want you to all stand in mountain pose, feet together or apart. Ideally, if you've been practicing this for the last 8 weeks, we want feet together. And all I want you to do is inhale, raise your heels off the ground. And what you will notice is, as you shift the focus or the gravitational pull from the ankles upwards, you automatically start engaging the core. You'll notice this, the higher you come up, and in order to stay balanced, you need to maintain the solar plexus, this upper abdominal area. So what we do is we constantly shift between ankle and core in terms of different exercises, in terms of center of gravity. And this is it. So the ankles are related to the central part of the spine and the gills of the body, or the solar plexus. I call them the gills of the body because the solar plexus is really the powerhouse. It's the powerhouse. The gills are the powerhouse in fish. The solar plexus is our powerhouse. Okay, and then when we did the class on the evening class on releasing the hips, I talked about how the hips are related to the neck, and that when we release the hips, we have to do a little bit of neck stretching, because change in the position of the hips lengthens the spine, and then as we straighten up the entire spine, the curves of our neck changes as well. So we have to, whenever we do hips, we have to release the neck. And then with the skeleton, we discussed this as well. Okay, so we went through this over the last 2 days, and what we realized is, as we realign the hip, bring the hip into neutral position, and the way we bring the hip into neutral position is by engaging all the muscles of the legs, from the ankles all the way up. And then we engage the backs of the thighs. One of the bits of instructions we get is from the posterior plane, is engage the muscles at the back of the thigh, suck those muscles into the thigh bone. And what you notice is that just gives you complete engagement of the thigh muscles. And then when you suck all the gluteal muscles in, you notice that automatically your tailbone, that's this little tailbone, moves to center line of the body. And as soon as that happens, you automatically stand a little straighter, and you notice, instead of getting that curve of the spine, you're actually able to stand straight. Now that's the natural position of the spine, okay? So the hips related to the cervical area. And then, in the last class, we started talking about the upper chest area. Okay, so we started paying attention to the intercostal muscles as we're breathing. So instead of just paying attention to the ribs, we're now using the intercostal muscles. And in the last class, with regards to our planks, we started paying attention, as we got more length in the upper back, from our waist on the lateral plane up to the shoulders, and then from our mid-back up to the crowns of our hips. Now that's focusing on the chest area. So we've slowly worked our way up from feet, up the legs, up the thighs. We've learned how to engage the hips. We did the lower abdominal area, remember, transverse muscles, inwards and then up. We've done the gills of the body, remember, powerhouse of the body. But even though we're moving the powerhouse of the body, we're maintaining integrity of the spine. And over the last 2 days, we've moved upwards, from the waist all the way to the underarm, the front of the chest all the way to the shoulders. Okay, so now we're working the chest. And what's important to notice, and what we're going to be doing in the class today, is understanding how engagement of the rib cage, the intercostal muscles, which are also extending as you extend the spine laterally, the muscles of the upper back, as you lengthen the upper back all the way to the crown of the head. I want you to pay attention to how that is related to the knees. Okay, so this is where we start putting things together. Ankles related to solar plexus, knees related to chest area, hips related to neck. This is how the lower body is reflected in the upper body. Now, you've already been doing what needs to be done to engage. Our bodies are amazing at being able to do that. But today I want you to actually think about it in terms of movement. That when we're moving our ankles, or when you're trying to stabilize the solar plexus, we have to be working with the ankles. That this entire chest area is actually related to the knees, and the neck area is related to the hips. Now, we've done ankle and solar plexus, and we've done hips and neck in terms of alignment. Now, with the knees, the important thing is we have a lot of control over our knees by engaging the various muscles. Okay? So even though we're saying that the knees are related to the length and the engagement of our thoracic area or chest area from the waist all the way up to the shoulders, what you need to do is ensure that the knees are always in a relaxed position. So you're never hyperextending or hyperflexing the knees. They're always neutral. However, it's the muscles of the calves and the thighs that need to be appropriately engaged so that you have full control and strength in the knees. And the more strength in the knees you have, and when I say strength in the knees, remember it's the muscles of the thighs and the calves, the straighter you're going to stand.